Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're taking a look at AI.
Oh, yeah.
And something
the big one
called the Turing test.
It is.
You've probably heard of it, but just in case you haven't, it's basically a test to see if a machine can carry on a conversation so convincingly that it fools us into thinking it's human.
Yeah, can you tell if you're talking to a robot or a person?
Right, exactly. And the thing is that recent research suggests that AI is getting really good at passing these tests.
Oh, it's scary good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even being judged more human than actual humans.
I know, it's kind of freaky, right?
It is.
So the study we're diving into today is actually called GPT-4 is judged more human than humans in displaced and inverted Turing tests.
Catchy title.
It is catchy.
I know.
And it really kind of challenges our assumptions about how we perceive AI online.
Yeah, it really does.
So before we get into all the crazy results,
okay,
can you just give us a quick breakdown of how this Turing test actually works?
Sure. So basically imagine you're as judge in this test.
Okay.
And you're having this text-based conversation with two hidden entities.
Okay.
One is human and one is AI.
Okay.
And you can ask them anything you want.
Okay.
But the trick is you have to figure out who's the human and who's the machine just based on how they're responding.
So it's an online game of who's who.
Right.
But with potentially world-changing consequences.
Exactly. And the thing is, AI systems are getting so much more advanced these days, like GPT-4 that we're talking about today. They're becoming so good at mimicking human conversation patterns, it's hard for even experienced judges to tell the difference.
It's impressive, but also a little unsettling, right?
Totally.
Are we getting to a point where AI can just blend seamlessly into our online world?
Well, that's what the study is all about, and it goes beyond just the traditional Turing test.
Yeah.
It introduces these really fascinating variations called the inverted and displaced Turing tests.
Those sound interesting.
They are.
Tell me more.
Okay, so the inverted Turing test is flipping the script.
Okay.
So instead of a human trying to figure out who's human, it's the AI doing the judging.
Okay, so the AI is judging.
Yeah. Wild, right?
It looks trippy.
Yeah, and then there's the displaced Turing test.
Okay.
So imagine you're scrolling through a forum or a comment section online.
Right.
And you come across this conversation that you weren't a part of.
Okay.
But you're trying to figure out who's human and who's AI just by reading what they wrote.
Okay.
That's a displaced Turing test.
Got it.
It's about how we actually encounter AI in our daily lives.
Right, because we're always reading stuff online and we don't always know who or what is behind those words.
Exactly. And this study is really interesting because it looks at those more realistic online settings.
Okay.
And the results, well, let's just say they challenge some of our assumptions.
Okay, so spill the tea.
Okay.
What did they find?
So was AI able to judge other AI?
Yeah.
How did humans do in these new scenarios?
Give us the goods.
Okay, so in the interactive Turing test, the traditional setup with the human judge,
Okay.
the AI judges GPT 3.5 and GPT-4, they were actually worse at spotting AI than human judges.
Okay.
So in that head-to-head, humans still have a little bit of an edge.
So round one goes to humankind.
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
Okay, here comes the twist.
Yeah, so in the displaced Turing test, where the judges were just analyzing transcripts, the AI judges did just as poorly as the human judges.
So basically, when we're not directly interacting with the AI, both humans and AI have a harder time telling who's who.
Exactly. It shows that both human and AI judgments are really influenced by the context of the interaction.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the inverted Turing test where the AI is the judge?
Oh, right. That's the real mind blower.
Okay, tell me.
The best performing GPT-4 model was actually judged to be human more often than actual humans were.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you saying that we created a machine that's better at convincing us it's human than we are?
Kind of, yeah. It's a wild finding.
That's a little scary.
I know, right?
It is.
And it makes you wonder what this means for the future of online interaction.
Yeah, if we're already at a point where AI can do this, what happens as AI keeps getting better?
Right.
How will we know who or what we're talking to online?
It's a big question.
It is a big question. Okay, I think we need to dig into this more. What are the implications of AI becoming so good at being human?
Yeah, that's a great place to start.
And how do we even detect it in the wild?
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so we've established that AI is getting really good at mimicking human conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
To the point where it can fool us better than actual humans sometimes.
Right.
So what are like the real world implications of this? I mean, this isn't just some like sci-fi thought experiment anymore, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's not sci-fi. It's getting real.
It's getting real.
And the consequences could be huge.
Yeah.
Like, think about the spread of misinformation online.
Okay.
What happens when AI-powered bots can create, like, fake news articles or social media posts that are indistinguishable from human-generated content?
Yeah, that's a little scary. I mean, it feels like we're already wading through a sea of misinformation online.
Right.
And now we got to worry about AI, like, adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly. And it's not just fake news either.
Right.
Like, imagine AI-powered bots doing things like phishing scams or manipulating financial markets or even, like, influencing political discourse.
Oh, wow. So it's like the possibilities are kind of endless.
Yeah, they're endless and a little bit scary.
It's a lot to think about. Okay, so we've talked about like the downside, the potential downsides, but isn't there like a flip side to this?
Oh, absolutely.
Couldn't AI also be used for good? Like if it can mimic human conversation so well?
Yeah.
Couldn't it be used to create like more personalized or engaging educational experiences or something?
Definitely. I mean, that's the exciting part about AI.
Okay.
It has so much potential to actually make our lives better. Like, imagine having AI tutors that can adapt to your individual learning style.
Okay. Yeah.
Or AI assistants that can help us manage our crazy schedules.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
Right.
To get rid of all the to-dos.
Totally. Or even like AI companions that can provide emotional support.
Okay, so it's not all like doom and gloom.
Definitely not.
It sounds like we're at a point where AI could either like lead us down this path of like deception and manipulation, or it could bring us to this like era of crazy progress and innovation.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It really depends on how we use it.
So how do we make sure we're using it for good?
Right, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, like how do we stay ahead of the curve when AI is like constantly evolving?
Well, the study we're looking at today actually offers some clues about that.
Okay.
Remember how the AI judges got better at spotting AI?
Yes.
When they had more information? Like when they could learn from previous judgments?
Yes.
That's something called in-context learning. And it could be a key to improving AI detection.
Okay. Yeah, remind me how in-context learning works again.
Sure. So basically, it allows AI systems to learn from new information without having to be reprogrammed.
Okay.
So they can take like a few examples of correct judgments and then use that knowledge to make decisions in new situations they haven't seen before.
So it's kind of like how humans learn from experience.
Exactly. It's learning by doing.
So the more data we feed these AI systems, the better they get at recognizing patterns and making accurate judgments.
All right.
It's like they're building up this whole database of knowledge about human communication.
Yeah, it's like they're developing their own intuition.
Oh, okay. That's actually pretty reassuring.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're not totally defenseless in this AI arms race. But
yeah.
I have to ask about the ethical implications of all this. Like, we're talking about machines that can like potentially mimic human behavior so well that it's hard to tell them apart from real people.
It's true.
I mean, that raises some pretty big questions, doesn't it?
It does. It's a whole new ethical landscape we have to navigate.
Yeah. Like what happens when AI gets so good at like mimicking human emotions that we start to form emotional attachments to them?
Right. Like what does that mean for our relationships with each other?
And what about like the potential for AI to be used to create deep fakes?
Oh, yeah.
That could like damage reputations or even like incite violence?
Those are really important questions, and we need to start thinking about them now.
It feels like we're stepping into uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
Like, the line between science fiction and reality is getting really blurry.
I agree, and that's why it's so crucial to have these conversations now.
Yeah.
We need to think about the ethical implications of AI before it's too late.
Right.
And make sure we're developing guidelines and regulations to ensure it's used responsibly.
So we need to be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the risks, the ethics.
Yeah.
But like, what does all this mean for us, the average person, like scrolling through our social media feeds or browsing the internet?
It means we have to be more careful.
Yeah.
More aware of what we're seeing online.
Like, how do we know what to trust?
You can't just believe everything you read anymore.
Right.
You have to think critically, question sources, and be skeptical of anything that seems too good to be true.
So it's all about being like a savvy digital citizen.
Exactly.
It's like we need to develop a whole new set of digital literacy skills to navigate this crazy online world.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got to be skeptical, but are there any like practical things we can do to protect ourselves?
There are. Like, remember how the study mentioned using statistical methods to detect AI-generated text?
Right.
Well, researchers have taken those findings and actually developed free online tools.
Oh, wow.
That you can use to analyze text and see if it was probably written by a human or an AI.
That's awesome.
It's a good starting point.
Yeah, it feels good to know that there are tools out there that we can use.
Yeah.
To, like, take control of our online experience a little bit.
Exactly. And it just shows how important it is to stay informed and involved in the conversation about AI.
Right.
The more we understand about AI, the better we'll be able to handle the challenges and opportunities that come with it.
This has been super interesting. We've covered so much ground.
We have.
Like from the technical details of the Turing test to the ethics and the practical stuff.
It's been a great discussion.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of the potential impact of AI on our lives.
Me too. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to learn more and to join the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that really stood out to me from this study.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned that the AI judges actually gave reasons for their decisions.
Yes.
And those reasons were similar to human reasoning.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Can you talk about that a little more? Because it feels like we're getting into some deep philosophical territory here. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if these AI systems are figuring out what it means to be human just by looking at our conversations.
Right. It's like we're showing AI what it means to be human, and AI is learning from that.
And it's both amazing and kind of creepy, right?
It is. It really is. The researchers found that the AI judges, especially GPT-4, could explain their decisions in a way that sounded a lot like how a human would explain their reasoning.
So they weren't just copying phrases or mimicking our sentence structure.
No, not at all.
They were starting to get the nuances of how we talk.
Yeah, like the unspoken rules and subtle cues that shape our conversations.
It's like they were developing their own understanding of what makes a conversation feel human.
Exactly, and that's a huge step forward in AI.
It really makes you think about what intelligence really is. If AI can learn to communicate and reason like we do, does that mean it's becoming intelligent like us?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. Or is it just a really good imitation that's still fundamentally different from how our brains work?
It's a question that philosophers and scientists will be debating for a long time.
Probably. But for now, I think it's safe to say that AI is pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Totally agree.
It's making us rethink what we know about intelligence consciousness and what it means to be human.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time for AI.
It's exciting, but also a little scary.
Definitely, but I think the key is to approach these advancements with a mix of curiosity and caution.
I like that, curiosity and caution.
We need to be open to the potential benefits of AI.
Yeah.
But we also need to be aware of the risks and make sure we're using it responsibly.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
We started with this technical test, the Turing test.
Right.
And ended up talking about some pretty deep philosophical questions.
It's all connected.
It is all connected.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of AI and its potential impact on our lives.
Mm-hmm. Me too. It's been awesome exploring all this with you.
Likewise. And I hope our listeners are feeling the same way, inspired to learn more and maybe even a little bit challenged.
I hope so too.
So before we go, I want to leave everyone with a challenge.
Okay. I'm listening.
Go out there and try to spot the AI.
Spot the AI.
Yeah. Pay attention to the conversations you see online, the social media posts, the chat bots. Mm-hmm. See if you can tell if you're talking to a human or a machine.
That's a great idea.
It's a fun little game, and it might make you more aware of how AI is already a part of our online world.
It's like a real-life Turing test.
Exactly. So on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. It's been real, folks. But as we navigate this increasingly digital world, it's important to stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And maybe, just maybe, this whole journey of understanding AI will help us better understand ourselves and what it truly means to be human. Until next time, keep diving deep.